County as prescribed in Chapter 163 of Florida statutes, and we function under the authority of Article 11 and 12 of the Putnam County Land Development Code. Our primary responsibility of this commission is to serve as an advisory board to hear and make recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners on matters related to provisions of and proposed amendments to the Putnam County Comprehensive Plan and Putnam County Land Development Code. The members of this board will review each application and make a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners at their next regularly scheduled meeting on April the 28th, 2026. Procedurally, we will call each case by number and name. A member of the staff will give a will briefly explain to us the nature of each request. We will then take any comments from the applicant or their representatives, followed by public comments concerning the request. Please direct all comments or statements to the board and not to other people in the audience. Before speaking, we will ask each person to be recognized, come forward to the lectern and identify his or herself by name and address. After all persons wishing to speak have been heard, we will entertain a motion from the board. This motion will be voted on by the board members and become our recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. The Board of County Commissioners will make the final determination regarding the application. All applicants have the right to withdraw their request at any time during the application process. The following applications were advised to be considered at meeting today will not be heard. Doesn't apply. All right. First case. Has anyone engaged in any ex parte communications?
Nope.
Anybody?
No, sir.
Anybody? Does anybody have a conflict of interest?
No, sir.
All right. All right. Proceeding to the first case that we will consider is REZ 26000001.
Thank you, sir. For the record, Michael Graves, Planning and Development Services. This is case REZ 26000001. The applicants, Gary L. and Marissa D. Kearns, are requesting a zoning map amendment from commercial neighborhood C1 to residential 1HA, R1HA, on 3 acres located at 1551 State Road 100 in Melrose to allow the development of a single-family residence. Surrounding zoning districts include agriculture and residential 1HA. The subject site has a future land use designation of rural residential, approximately 450 feet of access from State Road 100, and according to the National Wetlands Layer and the FEMA Flood Zone Layer on the GIS reference map, the lands do not appear to contain wetlands and is located in FEMA Flood Zone X, which is not a special flood hazard area. Should the applicant's request be approved, the applicant will then be eligible for obtaining all building and site work permits compatible with the R1HA zoning district. Here you can see an aerial overview of the property. Here you can see the future land use. You'll note that it's at the intersection of rural residential, agriculture, and mining, as it's located right next to the Vulcan sand mine. Here you can see the zoning, where you can see again an intersection of agriculture and residential 1HA. Staff recommends approval of the request to amend the zoning map from commercial neighborhoods C1 to residential 1HA, R1HA. Staff finds that the proposed rezoning is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the adopted comprehensive plan and meets the locational requirements of the residential 1HA zoning district provided in the Land Development Code and the comprehensive plan. Are there any questions?
Do we know why that was originally designated as C1 zoning?
We do not.
Just looks out of place right there.
It very much is. The C1 zoning district is not allowed to occur normally in the rural residential future land use category. Specifically, the only commercial development allowed in rural residential is through a planned unit development. That's one of the reasons that they have come to us for this rezone, so that they can actually build something on their property.
Anybody else? I don't see anybody from the public wishing to speak. I guess we can entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion we approve case number REZ 26-000001 as it is consistent with the goals and objectives of the Land Development Code and the future land use.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Pass that one. Looks like that is it for
We gotta do the
new
minutes.
business. Oh, no, yeah, that's okay. Let's see. Old business, how about that? Let's do that.
We can do that.
Old business, it looks like, this came up from the last week's back and forth. Appreciate staff putting this together. Looks like we were pretty close to where we wanted to be. I did have one question on it, in that, on the, second section there,
Yes, sir.
where it talks about, SB 784, amending 17.071. It said subdivisions must be administratively approved and no further action approved by the governing body, et cetera, et cetera. Do we know what that approval is based on? What criteria that's based on?
That is simply whether or not the instrument for the subdivision, the plat, is compliant with Florida statutes and that the proposed subdivision adheres to the land development code regulations for whatever that development should look like. So is it consistent with the residential density of the comp plan? Is it consistent with the zoning requirements? Is it consistent with right-of-way widths, so on and so forth?
I got you, and I guess is that in alignment with the county policy there?
Which part, sir?
So, I guess the thing that was throwing me off on it, it says it must be administratively approved, but what, you guys are, that falls to planning and zoning staff, or what is that, who gives that approval that they're referring to in that?
So, under the county policy column, Resolution 25-078 named the county administrator as the land development regulations administrator. So, Mr.
County
Suggs,
administrator would have the right to approve or deny.
yes, sir. Mr. Suggs is the
Said
one that
subdivision.
actually signs the plat saying that everything has been achieved. Now, Mr. Suggs does rely upon my department, myself, the DRC, to have thoroughly reviewed that project before he makes the decision to sign.
Does
And
this
we-
include PUDs?
I'm sorry, sir?
Does it include PUDs?
So it includes the subdivision for the PUD. It does not include the actual zoning for the new plan unit
Okay.
development. So if this legislation was in place when D.R. Horton came through a little over a year ago now, the PUD still goes to Planning Commission. You guys get your opportunity to review it and scrutinize, and then it goes to the board. They get their opportunity to review it and scrutinize. But once that board drops the gavel and says 5,000 square foot lots are okay, then the plat, the subdivision itself comes back through planning, and we're making sure that the subdivision presented meets the development agreement adopted with the PUD zoning. So we still get an opportunity to review and scrutinize PUDs, but we're only allowed to look at, the board, I should say, is only allowed to look at the actual zoning map amendment, not the subdivision that comes after.
Yeah.
That would fall to the county administrator.
Well, it falls to planning and zoning, and then we put it through DRC, and we have the preliminary site plan approval, and then the preliminary plat, the final plat. It goes through all those steps, but it just never comes in front of the public board. The subdivision in
The
and of
subdivision
itself.
portion of it, not the PUD portion. Okay.
So Zach, just let me recap this real quick so I can understand it. So we have 4 types of subdivisions, is that right?
We have more than that. but
Okay. So if a type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4 gets submitted to your department and the zoning is properly classified, we will never see it. You guys get to process it through. We being the planning commission or the board, we
That's-
won't see it.
That's correct. Traditionally, typically, there's, the speculation is currently if that developer wants the county to take over the infrastructure, then we can put it in front of the board and make sure, hey, are we good with the right-of-way widths and the design, if it's curb and gutter or if it's swales, does the stormwater retention pond adhere to our requirements? Do we want something different for that? that type of a plat, we could have the board review, because there is a capital investment, if you will, that the county has to agree to with that plat. But if the infrastructure is going to be covered under a CDD or an HOA or some other private agreement, maintenance agreement, then we would not be bringing that in front of the planning commission or the boards.
I get it. So this is where it's important to make sure that the criteria in the LDC is what we want, because I'm gonna say circumvents, it just bypasses us, because the land development code prescribes all these things, and if they meet it, no reason to come back to us, because they've met that, it just administratively gets pushed through on your side, assuming everything else works.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think you guys were a lot closer to compliance than it may have appeared last meeting, you know what I mean? And there was a lot of discussion about being far off of what the state wanted, but I think you guys are right on.
Zach, I do have one more question, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind. So Senate Bill 180, going back a few months ago, we talked about having a joint session between this board and the BOCC to talk about land use, LDC, and all that good stuff. And we decided to punt that meeting because we couldn't make any type of more restrictive changes for what I thought was a period of 3 years from a hurricane. But looking at Senate Bill 180, it stipulates 1 year. So with me, if I'm understanding that correctly, our timeline has passed, and we would have the ability to go back and make more restrictive, if we chose to, changes to the LDC without the state statute prohibiting us from doing that. Is that correct?
So I know Ethan was reviewing Senate Bill 180 earlier today. Him and I both looked at it. Ethan, do you still have the paperwork with you?
Yeah, the Florida statute that got amended is 1 year after landfall of a hurricane, but the Senate bill itself stipulated that no further restrictive amendments could be made until October 1st, 2027, and it was retroactive to October 2024.
I looked through this section 18 on it.
So section 18 is the section that got adopted into the Florida statute. Section 28 is the one that was the 3-year period, and it was every county listed in the federal disaster declaration for hurricanes Debbie, Helene, and Milton, and we are in one of those. So we, the county, are restricted until October 1st, 2027.
Okay.
And it is contained within SB 180, but kind of unrelated to Florida statutes at the moment.
Okay. All right.
So, as I understand the Senate bill, as long as we do not experience another hurricane in which Putnam County is declared part of the state emergency, then October 1st, 2027, we can move forward with amending our language to make more restrictive. But if we get, heaven forbid, if we do get a hurricane this season, then it'll push back another 3 years beyond that declared order.
There's, just real quick, back into that same section 18, it talks about if the comprehensive plan is amended by the county and it's accepted by the state, it's good. So, because, you gotta think, that is a long, that's, what's that, 20 months from now, before we could do anything?
October 27, yes, sir.
And that's just hoping and praying that we don't get impacted in the next, 2 hurricane seasons, which is probably unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But there's a procedure in place to get it approved through the state though, right? Like, you can send that land development code change language to the state.
So we don't send our LDC language to the state for approval. We only send our amendments to our comprehensive plan for approval. Now, we have to send any ordinance to the state within 10 days of adoption, but they don't tell us whether or not they agree or disagree, only if we amend the comprehensive plan. But with the process for amending the text of the comp plan, because it's considered a major amendment, when we start having our public hearings, we present it as proposed language. Well, I'm of the impression that we could be challenged up to and including the time where it's at the state for review. So that's I want to say it's 60 days after it goes through our public hearing process, then it's with the state for 60 days. So you're looking at almost 4-6 months worth of time for somebody to put together their legal argument and present it to the circuit court and say, this is more challenging or cumbersome than what was previously there. So it's a slippery slope. I mean, could we do it and get it through and approved by the state? Sure, but we've got that 6-month, up to 6-month time frame between where it's still open for scrutiny from some other member.
Well, that might not be a bad thing. I mean, it might not be a bad thing to let the public have input for that long. That way we know when,
Sure.
if it does get through, then probably a legitimate change. So,
Okay, good information.
So, I mean, with that, and I don't think that this is a votable item, but I think that our table that we provided today addressed the requests of the commission, which was essentially prepare a report demonstrating whether or not we are in accordance with this legislation. So I hope that answers any questions that you guys may have had.
I think it does. I think it got to where we needed to be there. I mean, you guys are obviously staying in tune with these changes, these governmental changes as they come up. So it's nice to be able to see it on a page where you basically say, yeah, we got this. So we appreciate the work.
Well, I have to give credit where it's due, and Ethan prepared this document. So, Ethan, thank you.
Good job, Ethan.
Thanks, Ethan.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any other old business? Anybody? No. How about approval of the minutes from the February 11th meeting?
So Chair, if I may, I don't know if it's my place, but I didn't see the appointment of chair and vice chair in the minutes.
Okay.
Mr. Perry, is that something that I could comment on?
Well, we certainly did it.
We definitely did
You
do
can check
it.
the recording, it'll also tell you that we did it. Just saying.
Yeah. I guess we can entertain a motion with an amendment showing that we put the officers in, well, I guess we're still in limbo on the president slot.
We're still in limbo on the president slot. We have communicated with Ms. Roberts, so she knows that she received the appointment and won the vote. We've not actually got a confirmation from her as of yet, which she didn't say no. She just said, okay, thank you for letting me know. But yes, I mean,
Make a recommendation that we approve the minutes at the next meeting when it's corrected. It's not like it's detrimental.
okay.
Right.
Did you get that for the record, Ashley?
Yeah, that's probably, I mean, we can table the minutes till next meeting.
Yeah, can we just get it into the mic, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Chair, I recommend that we table the minutes till the next meeting, and then we'll approve them once they're corrected. That's my motion.
I'll second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second to table the meeting, the minutes from the meeting on February 11th, 2026 till the next board meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, good with that one.
So I know we just passed that, but we couldn't correct him on the spot here. We've got to go back through a process.
I mean, I think we could have corrected it on the spot here, but those minutes were kind of detailed and cumbersome, and there was a lot of discussion.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's best to
we'll
do
let
that.
them just put the line item in
Okay.
there saying that, you know,
All right.
we approved vice chair, president was not here to take the recommendation, and
I just hate for Whiskers to get all jacked up over there because the minutes weren't approved, but if that's okay with you, it's okay with
we
me.
got to keep them on their toes.
Okay,
It's a big deal.
They look like they didn't have anything to do this
that's
week.
right.
Any new business? Do you have any new business? No new business? All right. Well, then that makes us done, 4:34.
Thank you.
Thank you. I like these 30 minutes.